So I'm Greer. I think you all know me. I'm the grants manager at Blue Mountain Community Foundation. I have Cole with us and Liz, also from the Blue Mountain Community Foundation. And we are here to kick off the Valley Giving Guide 2021. Woo! So I'm so glad everybody could be here with us. That's right, Liz. Energy, smiles. And so, of course, Blue Mountain Community Foundation is hosting this event, but it's a community event. And each and every single one of you are going to make it a success. We need everybody's participation and engagement in order to do this right. So with that, we'll run down a little bit about the agenda this morning. I've already talked about housekeeping. As you can tell, I like to have interaction with my audience, even though I have muted you. So, you know, your reaction buttons at the bottom with the thumbs up or the party confetti or the applause, feel free to throw those out anytime you feel like it. Okay. Then we'll hear from Cole. He does high level. I think you've all met him. And then Liz, she'll get into the nitty-gritty details. She's our tech guru. So any tech questions, Liz is your gal. Then we've got our friend and colleague Arendra. She'll talk a little bit about the Alternative Gift Fair, our partner in this whole effort. And then I get to do the fun stuff at the end with the prizes and the giveaways and all the polling. So don't worry, you'll hear from me more. All right, shall we get started? Yay, okay. So first up, we have Cole. He is our fearless and unflappable leader. And he loves it when I call him unflappable. Take it away, Cole.
Hey, thanks a lot, Greer. I don't really know what unflappable means. I was thinking about that. I just wanted to use that term Greer said that last week when we were practicing, and I'm like, I don't know, do I want to be unflappable? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? But maybe we can talk about that afterwards, Greer. I'll see what you're really getting at there. But thank you for organizing this, Greer. Greer is the one leading the charge on this. So thanks for all the work you put into it. I'm going to start my comments by talking about when I started in this job, which reminds me I should say, hey, I'm Cole. I'm Cole Medina, the president and CEO here at the Blue Mountain Community Foundation. I haven't actually met all of you. I've met many of you. I was lucky enough to be chosen to replace Carrie Isaacson when she retired and have a chance to come back home to Walla Walla and be part of this amazing institution and this nonprofit community. When I walked in the door, literally when I walked in the door on my first day on December 1st, there was this like mountain of checks coming through the mail. Like every day throughout the month of December, all this money kept coming to the foundation. And it came because it was coming for you. It was coming for the nonprofits participating in the Charitable Giving Guide. And as I assume you all know, that Charitable Giving Guide last year exploded. It had raised $17,000 the year before, and then last year, because of various changes made to the event and because of COVID and because of this amazing match from All in Washington, that event generated over $4 million for local nonprofits. So 17,000 to 4.2 million in 1 year. That's why all the money was like pouring in, which was a really interesting way for me to start my job here. After that was over in January, we did a couple debrief meetings with nonprofits to just get your feedback on the event and how it went. And a lot of folks were saying, you know, you really need to find a way to do this again, Community Foundation. How can we do this again? And we were sitting around talking about that same question ourselves internally. And I said to the rest of the staff here, well, I know a way that we can do this again. We can just follow a Giving Day model. Some of you probably are familiar with Give Big. which is run by Seattle Foundation for a number of years and now is run by 501 Commons. That's a giving day. Before coming here, I was running a giving day in Kitsap County where I ran the Kitsap Community Foundation. So I'm very familiar with running giving days. And I explained to the rest of our staff here how we can incorporate some giving day models into this event and continue it and see if we can keep raising millions of dollars every year. And they said, wow, sounds like a lot of work, Cole. And I said, yeah, it's a lot of work to put on a giving day. Why don't you, Liz and Greer, decide if this is something you want to take on for our community this year? And I'm really proud of them for saying, yeah. So you guys can thank Greer and Liz for being the ones to say, you know what? We want to spend a good chunk of our year putting on this event to help our local nonprofits and help our community. So they're really the ones running the show. I just get to come and talk a little bit. And so I'll start with this. What is this event? I'm going to give you some higher level kind of stuff, and then a lot of the nuts and bolts will come from Liz and Greer. For me, there's lots of ways to describe an event like this, but my favorite is that it's just a tool. This event is a tool for you all and us to use to raise more money for nonprofits in our community. That's what it is. Your organization will get as much from the event as you put in. It's just a tool for you to use. You can choose not to use the tool at all and not participate. Or you can choose to take a strong grip on that tool and use the heck out of it and try to raise a lot of money for your nonprofit. It's up to you. So what you put into it will mainly determine what you get out of it. So I like to think of it as a tool. Why are we doing this? Well, the obvious reason is what I just said. We feel kind of like we have to find a way to keep this going because it was so successful last year. But putting that aside, what other reasons? Well, I really believe in the rising tide theory of nonprofits and heck, anything in life. But for us, this is a way to try to help all nonprofits work together in one event to raise the tide for all of us. We all work together on this, we can all raise the tide for all of us. This is one of those situations where literally we'll all do better if we all do better. And I like to be in a situation like that. So we're trying to make that situation here. But in order to make that work, we need as many nonprofits as possible to participate. It'd be wonderful if every single nonprofit in the 4-county region participated. We were all talking to our supporters about this at the same time and made this something that people could not get away from. And so they would come and donate. Another reason why we like to do this event is to drive online giving. This event, especially this year going forward, is really going to be focused on online giving and using social media and emails and online tools to drive donations. It is a way to do it. Use the tool for that purpose, to get more of your donors to give to you online, because it's a more efficient way for you to receive donations. It's easier, and it's easier for them. So use the tool to get more online giving. As I mentioned already, another reason we want to do this is to grow the charitable giving pie. Sometimes nonprofits feel like, well, the pie is only so big and we're all kind of fighting over pieces of the pie. I don't really buy into that theory, but let's use that analogy. The purpose of this event is to make the pie bigger. So I want to share some stats with you from Kitsap. So in Kitsap County, I think we'd done the Kitsap Great Give 7 years before I left. And we did a survey of nonprofits and donors after every one of those great gives. So I'm going to share some stats with you. In 2015, so after the second Kitsap Great Give, 22% of the nonprofits that took part in that event said that 50% or more of the people who donated to them during the event were lapsed donors. So 50% of the donors who donated through that event were donors who had not donated to that nonprofit in at least a year. So this event is a good way to get your lapsed donors back. 86% of the people who donated that year to the Kitsap Great Give, 86% said that at least 25% of the money they donated was in addition to what they would usually donate. So they were donating extra money. 45% of the donors that year in the Great Give said 100% of the money they donated was above and beyond what they were planning to donate anyway to the nonprofit. So they were going to make their usual donations, and on top of that, 45% of them were donating extra through the event. 28% of the donors that year said they donated to nonprofits through the event that they had never heard of before and they had never donated to before. So the event is a way to get new donors for your organization. And 33%, this shocked me, 33% of the donors that year were first-time online givers. They said it was the first time they'd ever gone online and made a gift. So go forward, and I'll tell you that year, well, the first year of the Great Give, the event raised $560,000. Go forward to last year, 2020, the seventh one. That year, 37% of the nonprofits said that 50% or more of their donors were new or lapsed. So still a large percentage of nonprofits getting a large percent of new or lapsed donors through the event. 84% of the donors said they donated at least 25% of their money in addition to their normal amount. 48% of the donors said 100% of their donation was extra. So these numbers have stayed steady, which I find interesting, from the second event to the seventh event. You might not remember all the numbers I already told you for the first one, but they're very similar to the numbers here for the second one. And 42% of the donors said through the event last year, they donated to nonprofits they'd never heard of before. So last year, the event raised $2.3 million. So the event grew every year. More nonprofits took part, more donors took part, more money was raised, and through the event, nonprofits were getting their lapsed donors back, getting new donors involved, and we were growing the pie of philanthropy. So for us, that's a really important part of this. Hey, why are we doing this event? Why is BMCF want to do it? Or I'm sorry, what are we doing for this event? Well, we're going out and raising money to be the match. So we're raising sponsorship dollars, and we're going to use those dollars to provide a match to donations made to you during the event. So the sponsor dollars that we're raising, those are your dollars. They're going to find their way to you through the event. We're going to take care of what I call umbrella marketing. So we have a media sponsorship with Union Bulletin, and we'll have relationships with the other media, and we'll do marketing and advertisements in papers and other things like that. We're providing the technology platform for this. So we have hired a company that is making a really nice website for this that'll make it like a shopping cart experience where you will have your own page and you can put whatever you want on your page, videos, photos, text, whatever you want to put up there. And people can donate to you through your page. And people can see all the other pages and donate to as many nonprofits as they want in one go and check out. And I want to add here that that technology is not going through our system. So that technology sits over here. So all of your donor information will be over there. And it'll be accessible to you in real time whenever you want to get it throughout the event. You just log in and get it whenever you want. It's not going to be over here. We're not going to be importing any of that donor information into our own system and like soliciting them for our own stuff. I just want to be really clear about that because some people have expressed that concern. None of that information will be here in our database. It'll be over there for you. One point I wanted to point out here is that what I encountered in Kitsap and what we heard from nonprofits that took part in Kitsap was that planning for this far in advance really helps. And that's why we're rolling out this orientation now. So you have 4 months to plan and get all your stuff ready and in shape so that when this event opens on November 30th, you've already had time to start talking to your supporters about it and generating excitement and being successful in the event. So don't wait too long. The farther you get ahead of this, the better you'll do. And then finally, I want to talk about some use, how we're going to be using the money. So our goal is to raise $300,000 from sponsors of the event. Right now, we've raised about $220,000. So we're about $80,000 short. We're still working on it. We have hope we'll get to our really big goal of $300,000. But we're at about $220,000, which is great. We're going to take that money and use it to cover all of the fees of this website that I mentioned. So they charge a 2% fee for all the donations that run through their technology, and then to cover the credit card fees. So 100% of the money that's donated to your organization will go to you. We will cover all the fees out of the sponsor pool. We'll also use some money in the sponsor pool to do some of that marketing. So we'll be buying some ads in some papers, and we will be mailing a fancy mailer to every residential mailbox in the 4-county region. And that mailer is going to list on it every nonprofit that's taking part in the event, which hopefully includes your nonprofit, and explain to people how the event works and encourage them to go to the website and donate to the nonprofits on the list. So we're going to be sending a piece of mail out to every person in the 4-county region with your nonprofit listed on it. And we found in Kitsap that really helped to drive donations through the event. And then some of the money we're going to use for prizes during the event. And whatever is left after that, which we hope will be over around $200,000, will be the match. So when people donate to your organization through the event, we will add money from that $200,000 to whatever is donated to you. It won't be a one-for-one match. Well, if we have $200,000 in the pool and people donate $200,000 through the event, then it's a one-for-one match. But if we have $200,000 in the pool and people donate $400,000 through the event, then it's a 50% match. And hopefully you guys understand what I'm trying to explain. In Kitsap, most years it ended up being a 10 to 15% match. So if someone donated $100 to your organization, you get 110 or 115, and that was plenty. Giving days around the country have proven time and again that you don't need a one-for-one match to motivate donors to go and give extra. More than they would usually give. A 10% match is plenty to motivate people. It's enough of a tool for you to use to go get your donors excited. They wanted me to run through the prizes, but I think I've kind of carried on too long, so I'm not going to run through all the prizes, and we can roll those out later. But there will be various prizes awarded throughout the month-long event. So it's open from November 30th to the end of December. So for instance, on November 30th, we will give a prize to whichever nonprofit has the most donors. So whichever nonprofit has the most donors on the day it opens, which happens to be Giving Tuesday, how convenient is that? Whichever nonprofit has the most donors that day, we'll get some extra money. We haven't decided what it'll be. Maybe it's $1,000. Now the purpose of that isn't to like have some funny sounding prize scheme. It's to give you more tools. It's so that you can go to your donors and say, hey, look, let's all try to get organized. All of you supporters of, I won't pick anybody. All of you supporters of nonprofit Y, all of you go and donate on the first day of the event, because if you all go donate that day, we have a chance of getting an extra $1,000. So the tools, the prizes are just tools for you to use to communicate to your donors to try to get them organized around donating at certain times. And I think we have a question, a poll about the prizes. And I'm realizing now you can't really take the poll until I tell you all the prizes. Because we're going to ask you if you have any other suggestions for prizes. So here are the prizes. We'll give prizes for each nonprofit that raises the most money in each category. So like the nonprofit that does the best in arts, in the environment, in social services, each one of those will get a prize. Every Monday, we will give a golden ticket. So on Monday, we'll pick one donation and add an extra $250 to it or something like that. Most donors on the first day, most donors overall. So whichever nonprofits will probably do first, second, and third, have the most donors throughout the whole event, they'll get extra prizes for having the most donors. And also the same for weekly. So we'll do that overall and we'll do it weekly. So whichever nonprofits have the most donors in any week of the event, we'll get prizes. And maybe we'll also do which nonprofits raise the most money in an event will have prizes. So I went through that really fast. Oh, look at that. That's what I just tried to say to you. And I think Greer is going to put up a survey asking you if you have any brilliant ideas for other prizes that we could offer during the event. Keeping in mind that the purpose of the prizes is for you to have something to express to your donors to get them excited to come and donate to your organization. Or are we doing this in chat? We're doing this in chat. So please write your ideas in chat.
So while people are thinking about really creative and fantastic prize categories that they want to share with us, do we have any questions for Cole, specifically about anything that he just covered? And I know it was a lot and we're gonna dig in a little bit more, but if you have any questions now, I see one from Mary Campbell about us helping smaller nonprofits who don't have the staff that some of our larger organizations do. And Cole, do you want to answer that, or I'm happy to?
Yeah, so the help that we're providing that's built into this is there are a bunch of materials, like a playbook and related materials that Liz has created that are available to everybody. They will basically just kind of walk you through all the different ways, different things you could or should be doing to be successful in the event. So that should be helpful. Beyond that, I don't know that we have the capacity to like kind of get in there and do this work for people. But we're always available to answer phone calls, have office hours, and help people as much as we can. You guys probably have something else you want to add to that, Greer?
Yeah, I do. So we'll talk about it a little bit later, but we are going to have multiple Zoom trainings just like this to provide help. And this one's our orientation kickoff, so it's pretty broad. But we have 4 others scheduled that are very specifically focused on a category. So marketing, social media, planning, how to roll it out to your donors, all that good stuff. So you'll see that schedule in a little bit. We also are doing drop-in office hours between this week and launch week. So on Fridays, I will be just sitting on Zoom, listening to my music. And if you have questions, need help, want to just jump on and say hi, I'll be there from 10 to noon is the current plan, and that's starting this Friday. And again, Liz has a slide with that link and the information as we get further in our agenda here. So I hope, Mary, that we will be providing as much support as any and every organization needs, no matter their size. That's our goal.
And just to kind of piggyback off of that, as Cole had said, you know, the stats at Kitsap showed that a lot of donors were giving to new organizations. And so just by virtue of being a part of this and having your organization listed on the Valley Giving Guide, that also will increase your odds of getting donations that would fit with those prize categories. So somebody may come to the Valley Giving Guide website to make a donation to one nonprofit and end up donating to several others, and then that's the prize winning donation. So it makes it kind of fun that donors are there and they're able to give to as many organizations as they want to.
Something else about the website for this is it'll have a leaderboard on it that shows how much has been donated to every nonprofit in real time. So you can watch your numbers and everyone else's numbers, hopefully going up in real time, and it'll have a total at the very top, the total given through the event in real time. And I always find that's a lot of fun and motivational for people. I went too long, Greer, so I think I should pass it off. And Greer and Liz are going to get much more into the weeds for you guys. There's a lot more I'd actually like to say about this, but I'll have more opportunities to yak at you all, and we'll take questions later. So I'd like to turn it over to Liz. Liz McClure is our scholarships and communications manager here in the office, and she's taken the lead on this event. So take it away, Liz.
Thanks, Cole. Before I get started, it looks like there was a question from Janet Adams about, is it a one-time donation or ongoing donations? And the shopping cart system, it only allows them to set up a one-time donation. So if they want to donate again throughout the event, they'll have to come back and hopefully visit some more organizations while they're there. Okay, so I'm gonna get jumping in here to profile registration and how all of that will work for everybody this year. Let me just kick on to the next slide here. So if you participated in the charitable giving guide last year, your organization has been pre-registered. So what that means is that we took all the information that was on your profile last year and we just uploaded it directly into the new system. So you have a few less fields that you'll need to put in. If you're a new organization that didn't participate last year, then you'll have to register your organization online. And I'll walk through that here in just a moment. So as we walk through, you'll see that there are some required fields and then there are some that are only recommended. And there's new areas for you to put content this year. So you can put as much information about your organization as you would like instead of that smaller amount of space that we had last year. And there's now support for a video link or for an image carousel. So if you have a video about your organization that's on YouTube, you can have that embedded directly into your profile page. And that will really be great for helping you guys show what you're doing and show your donors or prospective donors what your organization is about. So I'm going to go ahead and switch gears to our actual website so that you can kind of see exactly how to walk through registering and where you'll go. Just switch screens here. Okay, so this is valleygivingguide.org. So as we get closer to the event, some of the tabs on this page will change, and we'll be looking at adding in materials for donors like FAQs. And then this is also going to be kind of the main page where folks will come when they want to donate, and they'll see that leaderboard during the live event. This is just the pre-event homepage. So you can see here that we're going to have different categories. So if you participated last year, when we uploaded your information, we included the category that you had for last year's insert. You do have the option to change that if you feel like the one that you had last year doesn't quite fit. So when you're ready to work on your profile, if you have not participated before, you'll go to NPO registration. So on this screen, you'll put in your organization name, your EIN, and then your personal login information. So one thing that we're really excited about this year is that each organization can have as many users as they want. So you're not limited on, one person's in charge of logging in and now they've changed the password. You can add as many users as you need. So the first person to create their account, they will have to do the organization setup if you did not participate last year. So once you enter that information, a little window pops up here saying success, you've successfully signed up your organization, you've created that account. If somebody from your organization has already created an account, it'll tell you that that EIN is already in use and you won't be able to create a new account. You'll have to contact that person to add you, and it'll tell you who created the account. If you're not sure, or if it was somebody, if it was created last year and that person's no longer with the organization, you can contact Greer or myself and we can get you set up and back into that account. And once you have gotten that success screen, you go to the NPO login. So this is the point that's the same for everybody. So if you're already in the system, or if you just completed that registration page, you can go to the NPO login. So this is where you enter the email address and the password that you just created. And it'll take you into your individual dashboard. So along with having as many users as you'd like for your organization, if you're involved with multiple organizations, you just need one login. So if you are a grant writer or if you're a volunteer for multiple organizations, you can actually have one account that's linked to both organizations, or 3 or 4 organizations, depending on how many that you need. So on this example, my fake user here has 2 organizations that they're a part of. So you would just pick which one you want to work on. So we're going to work on test org 2. And this is showing you that you're going into the Valley Giving Guide dashboard. So when you're on your dashboard, you can see that your status is at the top of the screen. So right now it's pending requirements completion. So there are required fields on the registration form that you have to complete in order to be a part of the Giving Guide. If you don't complete those by the October 1st deadline, then you won't be able to participate. So it shows you your next deadline here, and it shows you all of the tasks that are currently assigned to you. So the required profile are those required fields on the registration. The recommended profile are just extra things you can include on your profile that aren't required to participate, but will help drive more enthusiasm for your page. And then donor thank yous is something that we are putting in as a requirement as well. So once you pull that report of all of your donors, we do recommend and ask that you thank them either via email or letter, and just really help them feel the appreciation for their donations. So to update the profile, you'll click on the left tab here for profile. So on this organization, there's not really anything filled in. So if you participated last year, the address information, some of it will be filled in, some of the website information will be filled in, and you'll already have categories and counties assigned to you. So if you need to make any changes to your existing information, then you would just click on this edit button, and now everything is editable. So you can type in your address, you can scroll down. If you have a new website, you can put that in. If you have a Facebook page, a Twitter account, if you have YouTube or Instagram, all of that can be added, and it'll show as the social media icon underneath your logo on your actual profile page. The category is just the kind of programs that your organization participates in. I understand that, some groups might do multiple things, so you can only pick one of these, unfortunately, but just pick the one that fits best with what your organization does. And then for county, we do have the option to pick more than one county, just depending on those organizations that are really active in multiple counties. We want you to be able to show up everywhere that a donor might be looking for you. You have the opportunity here to upload a logo and the hero image. So that is a banner image that will appear across the top of your entire profile. So it recommends a pretty wide and short picture, just so that it doesn't look distorted. And we'll be able to help you guys preview those as you are working on your profile, so that everything looks exactly how you want it to before everything goes live. And you can also add the video through a YouTube or Vimeo URL, or you can add an image carousel just by uploading pictures. You can have 3 pictures for the image carousel, or you can have the video, but you can't have both. And then we have the profile content area. So this is all of the information on your website. You can use bold, you can use different headings, different styles, and this is where you'll describe the work that you're doing, have your call to action, your elevator pitch about what your organization does and why people should donate. You can do hyperlinks here. So if you want to link back to a brochure or something else that you have, or link back to your website, you will have it on the sidebar, but just anything that you might want to link to, you can. You can do bulleted lists, you can do numbered lists. So there's a lot more opportunity here than there was last year. So we really encourage everyone to take advantage of that and utilize it as much as they can to make that page look a little bit more friendly. You'll have your own page that won't have anyone else's information on it. So there's a lot of room here this year. You'll enter a primary contact name and email and the print description. So if you participated last year, the print description was copied over from your previous profile. And this is the information that'll appear in the newspaper insert. So there's very limited space. We have to try and fit everybody into that newspaper insert. So we're asking you to limit it to 1 to 2 sentences. I know it's hard. Luckily for a lot of you, it's already preloaded with what you put last year, so you can tweak that if you want to, or just leave it as is. But if you're new, we do ask to keep it to 1 to 2 short sentences, just so that everybody has the same amount of space. And VGG 2021, yes, I have reviewed my profile. So this is especially important for folks who were participating last year and had some of that information copied over. We do want you to check that box saying that, yes, you've reviewed everything, everything looks right, and you're all set. So once that's the big one that you have to check before your organization will be considered submitted and ready to work on participating this year. And then the matching funds. So if you have a donor that is interested solely in matching the funds that your organization raises in the Valley Giving Guide, you can add that dollar amount in here, and it'll just be reflective of your total when folks are looking at your page. It's completely optional, but if you just wanted to kind of see how that number would look, you can put that number in there and it'll show on your page.
Hey Liz.
Yeah.
Sorry to just interrupt, but just on that point, we had questions about this a lot in Kitsap. So a lot of nonprofits in Kitsap went out and got their own match. and that would just be added on top of the match that we're providing through the bonus pool. But that matching money, that doesn't actually come through the community foundation. That relationship's just between you and your donor or your donors who are providing the match. So you would just put here how much your match is, and then you would have that relationship with your donor, and you would tell them at the end of the event if you raise $10,000 through the event, and so you get their $10,000 match or not. So that would just be on you guys. So just so you know, that doesn't run through us. And we don't like check that. It's just an honor system.
Great, thanks, Cole. Okay, so that is the profile registration. That really covers everything that you'll need to participate just to get your page ready. The training tab on the left here, we'll be uploading links to the upcoming training sessions so you can subscribe to them through your dashboard, but we'll also be sending out emails, and it'll be on Facebook and all of that as well, just so that you're aware that there's upcoming optional trainings. Parties. Cole, do you want to kind of touch on this? Looks like you're muted.
Sorry, parties?
Did you always use that in KidSap?
Oh, the function here?
Yeah.
No, I'm not familiar with it. We never used it. I could talk generally about parties, but I don't know about that function.
Okay.
I mean, I know that a lot of organizations in KidSap would organize parties for themselves. So it's something you all might consider. Like you organize a giving party one night where you bring all your people to a place and have dinner and have computers out and get them to go donate to you through that computer. But I don't know if that's what you're talking about.
I think that's what it's referring to. And this would just be visible on their profile. So if you are able to have some kind of event like that and you want the general public to be aware of it and invited, then you could put in that information here. So the name, the description, where it's at, what time, and then folks would be able to attend that. So that's completely optional. We're still kind of working out exactly how that works, but it's kind of an interesting option. I think was probably a little bit more popular before COVID and limits on gatherings, but that is something that exists in the system. And then donations. So this is where you would go to see all of the donations that you have received during the event. It's real time. It'll show everything up to the minute that you're there. And it has this download option. Since there's nothing to download now, it's got the red circle through it, but that's how you can access your donations. So whenever you're curious and want to know, you can log in and see it. The one caveat here is that if a donor has requested to be anonymous, you will not see their information. You'll just see anonymous. So that is an option that donors have. Last year, I don't think it was especially common, but it is out there where a donor could choose to be anonymous. And so you would receive the dollar amount, but you wouldn't receive their contact information. So that's what I have for today for registration. As Greer mentioned, we'll have office hours. This video will be uploaded as well as the slides, just to kind of help any folks out who couldn't make it. And if you have any questions, we are more than available to help walk you through it. It looks like some folks have already gotten in and we're updating theirs and approving things. So we're happy to see that it looks like that's working. I should have probably added that yesterday. The organizations that were already uploaded received an email with that link to create their account. So that's how some folks are already in here. They got that link. If you have any problems at all or any questions as you're creating your account, definitely reach out to us and we'll be happy to help. So I'm going to switch gears now back to the PowerPoint. Okay, hopefully that was back.
There are a couple questions in chat. Maybe I'll ask you real quick. So someone asked if there's a possibility of adding additional social media accounts. I assume that means to the website. I'm not sure.
So it's limited on those specific ones for the icons, but that is something that you could use the hyperlink feature within the body of your profile to link to.
And do you know if there's an option to do a donation in honor of somebody through the system?
I don't believe that there is. Greer, do you remember?
We were looking into that with the software team. I believe there's a notes or description field for the donor.
Okay.
but we will have more information about that probably at our next meeting.
That was it. I think we're caught up on questions.
Okay, great. So moving on, I'll touch on the newspaper insert. So this is going to be really similar to last year. It's going to be published in the Union Bulletin, the Waitsburg Times, the Valley Herald, Dayton Chronicle, and the East Washingtonian. So subscribers will receive it around the week of November 30th, just depending on what date that newspaper happens to deliver. It will depend on what date they get it. So some folks will be later in the week. I think the Union Bulletin will be that Sunday before, so they'll have it ready. Every participating nonprofit is included. That information is in the print description on your registration page. So again, that's the 1 to 2 sentence description of what your organization does. And again, if you participated last year, then that's already been copied over for you, and you don't have to update it unless you choose to. As part of the materials that we're putting together for you, we've come up with a logo and a style guide. So we have these 3 colors that are the main colors of the Valley Giving Guide. This will all be available to you afterwards. So you don't have to, try and write down these color codes. The logo here is on the right, and we have a black and white version of the logo, as well as a solid navy, solid green, and solid aqua version, and different file types, and all of that is already available for you through our Dropbox account. So you can use the bit.ly link VGG materials to get those. And again, we'll be sharing all this at the end. You don't have to memorize that link at the moment, but all of that will be available. And as more marketing materials become available, so we'll have social media profile pictures and banner pictures, flyers and mailers and things like that. All of that will be uploaded to the Dropbox, and we'll be sending out emails and posting on social media and mentioning that in trainings as well when those are available for you to use. So materials will be found at bluemountainfoundation.org/VGG. And that's where we'll have planning checklists, social media tips, trainings, and recordings will live there. So if you've missed one, you can always go there to find it. There'll be an email archive. So as we send out email reminders, little tips and tricks and things as we get closer, I'll have a link to each of those individual emails in case you missed it, and the option to subscribe there. And there will be links for the training registrations, as well as the recordings from the previous trainings. And all of that will be kind of in one house on the Blue Mountain Foundation website. And then that website also will link to the Valley Giving Guide website. So it's 2 websites. It's a little bit confusing, but if you're on one, you should be able to navigate to the other pretty easily. Some key dates to be aware of. So registration opened yesterday. We have 2 training sessions before the registration deadline, other than this one, and those are on September 15th and September 29th. So September 15th will focus primarily on registration questions and issues with getting your profile updated, and then the 29th training session will be focused a little bit on those last lingering registration questions, and then looking more to planning. October 1st is the registration deadline, so you have to have everything in your profile ready to go by October 1st and have that checkbox checked that you've reviewed all of your information. If you do change your mind about the exact wording on your profile between October 1st and November 30th, you can edit it. That print description, though, will not be able to be changed, so that has to be ready by October 1st. October 12th will be another training session. That one will focus on planning and marketing. So that's one that if you have, a smaller staff or just more questions around how to reach out to your donors or how to get the word out about it, we recommend you definitely attend that training. November 4 is going to be another training session focused on marketing and promotion. So at that stage, we're expecting that you have most of your planning done, and maybe you're just looking for some tips or ideas on execution. So that's another one that is a great resource for the smaller organizations or the ones that have more volunteer-driven support. And you can send as many folks as you want to these training sessions. So if you have a volunteer team that's going to be really running the promotion for you, we do encourage you to send as many people as you want, and then those recordings will be available as well. So November 27, we're looking at having some early giving. So since the newspaper publication cycles are kind of pretty different throughout the region, some folks are going to get that insert early, and we want to make sure that they can still donate even if they get it before the 30th. So the website will be live then, and if folks get their insert early and they're excited to give, they can log on that day and donate. And those numbers will be populated onto the leaderboard on November 30th. So you might, wake up that Monday morning and see, hey, look, we've already raised $3,000 or something like that. So that's something that it officially starts on the 30th, but folks can give early when they do get that insert, and so that they can have that opportunity and they don't have to, sit there and twiddle their thumbs a couple of days. And then giving ends on December 31st. So it's going to be a whirlwind, even though it's still a month of donations. And we're going to have, as Cole mentioned, those prizes each week to kind of keep the momentum going, keep the enthusiasm going, and just help everybody have a great Valley Giving Guide. So that concludes my section. Are there any questions in the chat for me?
We have a couple questions, Liz. So we've addressed the deadline for nonprofits to register.
Yep.
Thanks for asking that, Julia. Maybe we've answered all of our questions for your section. We're not publishing donor names.
Correct, yeah.
I think we're good. Anyone want to pop off mute or throw another question in the chat? Oh.
Well, I'll just respond to Jan's question. Jan says, if everyone is essentially anonymous, is it possible to let them know that selecting anonymous hides their name from the organization they're donating to? So the first part of that, I don't know what that means if everyone's essentially anonymous. So I just want to make sure we're all clear, we're all on the same page. A donor will not be anonymous to you unless they check the I want to be anonymous box. And in my experience, it's a very small percentage of donors who do that. So the vast percentage is not anonymous. You will see your donors. As for the second part of that question, I don't know. Are we going to have a little piece of text on there next to the anonymous box that says what it means if they check it?
Yeah, I think we landed on that, that by checking this box, you will be anonymous to the organizations you're supporting. And
So
just
we'll tell them what it means.
And we will have more in-depth detail, and I'm hoping to actually have the software creators at the donor-focused training session. But he and his team and me and our team went around and around about the question of anonymity for donors and what that means for our nonprofits. And he has a whole bunch of statistics to back up where we landed, which is that if a donor selects anonymous, they will be anonymous to the organization. I was fighting very hard against that. Liz can attest. But actually, once you listen to the stats, which of course I don't have with me, it does make more sense. And it is a pretty small percentage of donors. So hopefully it'll be okay. And we'll delve more into that later.
Just going to answer those last two questions quickly. Our goal is to have all your checks sent out to you by January 31st, which also reminds me of something I wanted to mention that relates to, well, why would it take a month? Well, it takes a lot of time to just go through all the transactions and figure out exactly how much money is going to every organization. It just takes time. It takes a lot of our staff time. And there are going to be some things afterwards, after December 31st, that need to be fixed and cleaned up, and some people need refunds, and it'll just take time. And I want to make sure you all know that all of that staff time, the foundation's just donating that staff time. Like we get no fee out of this, in case anyone asks you. Like, we're not taking a fee anywhere. There's no cost to you. We don't get any money from it. We're just doing this as a program to try to be helpful. So we don't get paid. I just want everyone to know that. And the thank you letters, when someone donates online, they will immediately get an email thanking them and acting as their tax acknowledgement letter. And then that's all we will send them. If someone does donate offline, like they donate stock, we'll mail them a thank you letter, and that's all we'll send them. Beyond that, it is up to you guys to thank your donors and steward your donors however you want to do.
And there was a question, I think Cole, you addressed it in the chat, but I'll just verbalize it as well. We are able to process stock donations or RMD donations. If you have donors that want to go that route, just let us know and we'll get it taken care of. Okay, if there aren't any other questions at this section, we've got Arendra Cruz, our friend and colleague from the Sustainable Living Center, with a very brief update about the alternative gift fair. I don't see her yet, but Arendra.
I'm here.
There she is.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thanks to the Blue Mountain Community Foundation for taking this kind of idea to the next level and really building a tool that will help so many nonprofits in our region. I do want to say that unless things change dramatically in the next 6 weeks or so, there will not be an in-person alternative gift fair this year. It's a hard realization for me, but probably also a good call to make. So again, most likely no alternative gift fair in person this year. As far as the intent of the alternative gift fair and kind of the whole effort around this is really to have more intentional giving. When you think of all of the waste and blatant consumerism that goes around giving for so many reasons. I mean, people do give for a lot of reasons. One of my main hopes and reasons for even starting the alternative gift fair back in 2014 was to promote that idea that we can do a better job in our giving. So I'd like to just make sure that that is part of the thought process. It is a great tool to raise money, but we can also think beyond that and in a very intentional way about how we give, period. There's a couple of great resources that I will put in the chat. One is newdream.org, and that has a lot of information around alternatives to consumerism. And then also there is a registry, a gift registry that's free that you can, because there's a lot of time. Sometimes we don't always know what our family would like, or our friends, or our colleagues, the people that we give gifts to. And it's okay to say, what would you like? And here's a great tool. So that tool is So Kind, So Kind Registry, SOKIND. And I'll put it in the chat, but it's just sokind.org. And with that, I will keep my fingers crossed. I mean, things could happen in the next 6 weeks, but I personally am not super hopeful, and I'm just gonna set my hopes on a wonderful, wonderful, successful event this year, and then seeing everybody in person back next year. So thank you very much again to the Community Foundation, Greer, Liz, Cole, you guys are all awesome. Julianne's in the background somewhere, but I'm sure she's gonna be answering a lot of questions as well. So like Cole said, the more we put into this, the more we'll get out of it. And I really do believe in the power of this being a community event, not just individual organizations trying to raise more money. So thank you. And now back to Greer.
Thanks, Arendra. And if anyone has any questions for her, feel free to put them in the chat, or after my section, we're opening it up. So we can talk directly to her if we have any follow-up questions. Okay, so I get to really quickly review eligibility requirements. So we've had a couple questions in the chat about this, and I didn't call them out, so we can talk about it now. Essentially, all of our regular 501c3 public charity nonprofits must be in good standing with the IRS and then the associated state. So all of the regulatory authorities. I've had to practice that phrase all weekend because all I want to say is regulatories, which I think makes sense, and we all know what I'm talking about. The regulatory authorities. So we've listed the links here for kind of the top three. Please make sure that you are in good standing. We will also be checking. So if you're not and you haven't checked, we'll let you know. We are asking that our organizations be located in or providing significant services to one or more of our counties: Walla Walla, Columbia, Garfield, Umatilla. And furthermore, we essentially the donations are designated for local programming or operations. So if an organization is not able to honor that, that would mean that you're not eligible. I don't think we have that issue with any of the people on this call, but if you have any questions about that, let me know. It's a big community here, and I don't think we'll have any issues, but we're here to support you and help you if you need us on that front. All right. Yes, oh, Liz is the best, y'all. We should just take a moment and give her some applause because she is like just a wonderful partner. So thank you, Liz. And as you can see, she has gracefully moved me on in my agenda to talk about my office hours. So this is a new thing that I want to try this year. And basically I will sit on Zoom for a couple hours. Right now they're scheduled for Friday mornings from 10 to noon. And I will publicly share the link for the Zoom, and it's just drop in if you have questions, if you want to say hi, if you got stuck or you can't log in and you need me to reset your password, whatever it is, just jump on and we can talk it through. And then you can jump off. So I'm excited about this. I hope people will take advantage of this opportunity so that I'm not just sitting by myself. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. And now we have some really fun and exciting polls. So we talked about our donors and our donations and our donor database, but we've had some internal conversations about donation minimums and maximums. And some of us have some opinions and some of us have other opinions. And we thought maybe we'd ask you for your opinions, and hopefully you'll prove one of us right. So I've got a couple polls. I'll throw them up on the screen. We'll give you a couple minutes to look at them and share your thoughts. And then we'll take a look at what you think. The first one is about a donation minimum amount. Should we, like at the gas stations where you can't use your debit card under $5, same kind of idea. Do we want to set a minimum for our donors? And then on the other end of that, do we want to set a maximum eligible amount for the bonus pool funds? So it's not a maximum donation amount, but it would be a max on what gets rolled into the bonus pool at the end, the count. So, and that
Hey,
would
Greer?
be, yes.
I'm sorry, just before you put the poll up, I just wanted to add a little bit to those, but I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, it sounded like I thought you were about to put the poll up though. If there's somewhere you wanted to say, go ahead. Maybe you were going to say what I wanted to say.
I don't know. I don't even remember now what I was talking about. So please go ahead.
Okay, well, sorry to interrupt you. Just on the first poll, the question of a minimum donation. So in Kitsap, we had a minimum donation of $10. And the things to think about there, I'm just kind of priming your thinking.
Biasing, this is a bias.
Well, there are different ways to think about it, and Greer can prime your thinking too.
I was trying not to.
Is there an amount of money that would be too small to make it worth your while to go through the process of thanking and stewarding the donors? That's one question to think about. Maybe the answer is no. I don't care. I'm happy to thank every donor. And another thing to think about is, these are some of the things we're talking about here. If we set a minimum amount, will that encourage somebody to donate at least that amount? So if we set a minimum amount of $10, then someone will donate at least 10. Maybe they were going to donate 5, but now they're going to do 10. On the other hand, if we set an amount at 10, maybe someone who was thinking 25 would be like, oh, they only require 10, so I want to do 10. So it can go either way. So those are some things maybe to think about when you're thinking about that question. And on the other one, the second poll question, I just want to make sure y'all understand what that means, because it was very confusing at times in Kitsap. There's a concern, every giving day I'm familiar with has a maximum gift size that they will apply the match towards. And what that means is if someone makes $1 million gift, but the maximum match size is $25,000, that $1 million gift will only get the match on the first 25,000, and the 975,000 above that won't get the match. And the reason why these giving days that I am familiar with all have these limits is because of a fear that some larger nonprofits will come along and have some huge gifts come through for, say, their capital campaign they're doing right now. And they're smart and they think, well, hey, we're doing a capital campaign, we might as well run it through the giving day and get the match. And then the fear is they'll run $2 million through the giving day and soak up half the matching pool just for their capital campaign. So that's why giving days have these limits. So I hope that's helpful.
Thanks, Cole. And to jump off one more point about the maximum, it's per donor per organization. So a donor could donate $1 million across 100 of our organizations, and each of those unique smaller donations would get the match because it's not $1 million donation to one organization. So with that, I think we're ready. I love the chats that are happening here. Julia, you're right on. Here we go. All right, you should see the polls up there. You got a couple minutes. All right, votes are coming in. Oh, and Rachel, you did ask a good question about financial implication. I don't believe there is any for an organization because you'll get one payment from us instead of multiples like what happened last year. All right, that's about a minute. Should I keep it up a little bit longer? Is anyone gonna yell at me if I end it?
Can you see how many responses you have?
82% have voted. Should I wait a
Hey,
little
you
longer?
18%. You 18%. You got like 30 seconds.
We're not gonna like highlight individual voters. We're just looking at the broad themes here.
I didn't vote because I didn't think it would be fair.
Thanks, Liz.
I didn't vote either. I'm sure Greer did.
All right. Oh, that got us up to 84%. Maybe Liz is just the other 16% of our group. All right, I'm going to call it. Oh, and now I'm sharing it. Okay, so here's what y'all thought. Can y'all see that? You agreed with me that we don't need to set a minimum. Thank you. Thank you all very much, even with Cole's attempt to bias you in the other direction. And setting a maximum for the bonus pool funds. So yes, $10,000 per donor per org, with close second at 25,000. So that's great. Thank you so much. You will see the results of that soon. Now I'm going to turn this off, stop sharing. Okay, now we have one more. Remember those prizes that we asked you to weigh in on earlier? We've put them together in a poll. So now we're going to take a look at some of the ideas that I got. Hopefully I got them all out of the chat. I am not the most ideal chat monitor, but here we go. I like these ideas. We'll just do about a minute. And Cole, you can vote on this if you want to.
Are we supposed to vote on this?
Yes, please.
Sorry, is it just choose one, or do we mark any of them that we think should be prizes?
Hi, Jackie.
Yeah,
It is right now formatted as just choose one.
okay.
You are welcome to email me or chat or anything if you like more than one, or if you like all of them. Keep in mind the prize money does come out of the bonus pool bucket. So that's neither here nor there, but just a reminder.
There's not a none of the above.
There's not. That would have been a good one. And it looks like maybe I missed one from Sarah at Frenchtown. Sorry, Sarah. I will go back and look at it. All right, we got to 85%. I'm going to end it.
It's a good point from Rachel. New organizations wouldn't be able to compare last year how much they, or how many donors they had.
Yeah, these aren't set in stone. They're just for fun. But yes, that's a good point. Interesting. So about a third voting for the higher percentage, which would, if we didn't have the org last year, would not be able to track that. The donor prize, letting donors sort of win prize money and then send it out to their organization. Most engaged, we didn't like that one. And then number of new donors, which yeah, that one seems like a really good one too. That would be on honor system a little bit with our organizations self-reporting that. So that's great. Thank you. Okay, now. Oh yeah. We're done with our polls. We will process all of that information. Thank you all so much for participating in those. And now we have some prizes for the people in the room. I've asked a few of you at random to give me some numbers. And so I'm going to call out the names, the registrants that were associated with those numbers. And we have a $25 gift card for you at the place of your choice. Okay, we all ready? We all awake? All right, I see a heart from Arendra, thank you. Oh, and actually, Arendra, you are the first winner. I didn't even make that up. That was real.
What? That's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, and then I have Lisa Naylor. I know I saw you on here. Lisa Naylor is a friend over in Columbia County with the Blue Mountain Resource Conservation Development Organization. I think she's on here. She might be on her phone, so it's a little harder to engage. We'll follow up with everybody who wins after this as well. Okay, next one is going to Shelly at the depot. Yay, there she is. Hi, Shelly. I love that this randomly actually got us out of just Walla Walla County. It's rare that that happens, so yay. And then, Brian Burns. I'm pretty sure I saw you on here. Brian's with the Tri-State Steelheaders. Is he on here? He might have had to leave early. Oh, no, looks like he's still on here. Okay, so those are our 4 prizes. I will follow up via email. Thank you all for being here. And now we get to do any live questions. We've got about 15 minutes left. So feel free to raise your hand or just jump off mute, whatever works best. Any question? Don't make me call on you.
I have a question, Greer. We talked about stock and whatnot. Does that include checks? Like if people want to do a check like last year?
Yeah, thanks, Arendra. We are able to process those, but part of our marketing is really driving online giving. Last year, it was a lot of checks, and they're just harder to process. I think you all know that. And we're processing hopefully thousands of donations. So if you just absolutely have someone who needs to write a check, they can bring it into us. It needs to be written to Valley Giving Guide, and then it needs to have clear instructions about which organizations. And Julianne will be able to plug those into the leaderboard. So your donation it'll reflect in the leaderboard on the website for the Valley Giving Guide. But please encourage your donors to go online.
Last year, I brought in checks to you that had been given to us. Are you still going to accept those?
We're hoping that isn't happening this year because we're going to do a better job of messaging earlier for our donors. A lot of last year, we were kind of flying by the seat of our pants, as you all know. So this year, it's really, we would prefer to encourage our donors to go online and make those gifts online. If they need to write a check, they can, Lenore, and they can send it to us. And it needs to say Valley Giving Guide. It's made out to Valley Giving Guide and then WWCMF or whatever organization they're donating to. But again, hopefully we will be far enough in advance to address that. There was a lot of kind of uncertainty last year. So this year we have a plan.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Mary had asked in the chat when donations will go to the organizations, and that's going to be by January 31st.
I bet we could add that date to our key dates list for our orgs. That would probably be good.
I have a question about how this income would be on our 990. So people are giving this income to you, you're writing the tax letter, turning a check over to us. On our 990, does that appear as a donation from the Blue Mountain Community Foundation or from the individual donors? How does that work?
Well, Nora, legally, it's a donation from the community foundation to your organization. So it'll show up on your 990 as a grant from us is probably the easiest way to categorize it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is legally from us to you, not from the donors to you.
Okay, so when we have to fill in the category of largest donor, it would be, for example, perhaps the Blue Mountain Community Foundation, correct?
Yes, it will be, right? Because it'll be your biggest gift this year. It'll be huge. So yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Comments? Anything?
How about concerns?
Oh,
So
yeah.
you've all stuck with us for an hour plus. Anyone have any concerns about this? Anything you want to share?
Mary
Mary.
Campbell.
So I'm just going to pitch up again. As you know, I'm always the little piper about this, but the large organizations are well organized. We're able to do things easily, but I think about smaller organizations who don't have the staff and wherewithal. So I'd love for us to look at some prizes that actually will reward smaller organizations. Many of those prizes are going to go probably to I could almost name the top ones that will get it because they have large donor pools and they have a mechanism. But let's really focus, and I love that it did help smaller organizations just being on there, but I'd really love us to see us give prizes to some of those smaller organizations that don't have that kind of capacity.
It's a good point, Mary. We could easily break down some of those prizes into two categories. Prizes for organizations with budgets above whatever, $100,000 and or under 100,000 or whatever dollar amount, but we can do that.
And I think we did try to do that a little bit, at least that was in my mind, separating the most raised versus most donors to kind of get at that a little bit. But yeah, like Cole said, we can make it even more. We want to help everybody.
Sarah, I don't know if you're still on here, Sarah Archer, but in Kitsap County, every year, the Humane Society handily won the most donors prize, far and away. Like it's interesting how like different organizations kind of have different types of donors, and I think Humane Societies have lots of smaller donors. So that's a good point. Small organizations just aren't going to be able to compete against the, say, Humane Society when it comes to the number of donors.
Yeah, and Catherine Witherington, I'm calling you out. Sorry, I know it was just to me, but she had a really great idea. Many of you have probably met Crystal Evans. She's our new nonprofit development advisor, and she's fabulous. And she is on the list to discuss having a holiday giving campaign, maybe webinar, maybe tutorial, workshop, as we get closer to the launch. She, I'm sure, has all the knowledge and resources for that and could really help this group. So she doesn't know it yet, but that's probably on the agenda.
Any other
Okay.
concerns? I especially like hearing concerns. Anything anyone's worried about?
You're also welcome to email us concerns or call us or stop in.
Nicole, this is James. Sorry, I don't have a picture here. It's not really a concern. I'm really excited what you're doing, but it's a consideration. Some of us do our annual funds at the very end of the year. And last year I did have to do some balancing to when people were calling in and asking about this. We needed to have a certain number of dollars come in 2020 to survive. And we wanted to have as many dollars possible in the match. So for those of us that are in that scenario, we do have to do some balancing. And in the end, there were a few people who made nice gifts, a couple $1,000 gifts, that were upset that I did not tell them that they should send their money to the community foundation. But the reality is we needed that $2,000 gift by the end of the year to help us balance our budget. So just for some people, it's a great problem to have that extra balancing act you have to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, James, it's interesting. What I'm about to say doesn't quite speak to your problem, because I think the main point you were making is that you needed cash in the door before December 31st. So you didn't want to kind of ask all your donors to run their donations through the event, because then you wouldn't get the money till January. So I don't know how to help you manage that, but it has been interesting over the years to see how different organizations use the giving day, or in this case, the giving month, and what they choose to kind of run through it or not. People can get really creative with it. So I encourage you all to get creative with it.
And Sarah from Frenchtown has a good question about a section for donors to fill in about why are they donating, or why did they choose this organization. And I think I like that idea a lot. And it also reminded me of an ask that we had for you all, which is we need photos. We need local photos of local programs being delivered that have signed release forms if it's a kid, that are able to be published publicly. But if you have those or access to those, please share them with us. Last year, the Giving Guide print edition was all local photos, and I think it was really powerful. And we're trying again to really take the opportunity where we're spending the money to put these paper copies into the hands of all of our counties, all of our citizens, all of our residents. Let's show them what we do for real. Show them what you do. So send me photos. We have Dropbox as well, so we can always link them there. And we're at the end of our show. Y'all, I'm gonna wrap it up. I have one more really fun thing. Let's see, where are my notes? There are my notes. Hoi. All right, I'm gonna drop into the chat the super special custom made Valley Giving Guide 2021 playlist, which is what we were listening to as we all joined the meeting. And I want to share it with you all as we work on our profiles, or if you're just super excited about the whole thing. This is our playlist. You're welcome to add songs. It's through Spotify, so hopefully that'll work for most of you. Small caveat, I made this playlist with lots of joy and humor. There are some words, there are some adult words. I tried to keep it minimal, but they are in there. So if you do not like one of the songs, please fast forward. The next one will hopefully be better and make you smile. So enjoy. Please share this information or office hours information for Friday with anybody in your organization that needs to know, wants to know, and drop in on Friday and say hi. I'll be there from 10 to noon. And if that doesn't work, we'll catch you on the next round. Thank you all so much for being here. This is going to be a great year.